Bonding with the Carnage symbiote, Green Goblin, after learning the true identity of Spider-Man, schemes his most vicious plan yet, to take away from Spider-Man the people who Peter Parker loves most. From his laughing symbiote pumpkin bombs, hefty tail, to the sharp needles projected from his fingertips, this foe will require more than just Spider-Man to stop him. After being critically wounded in battle and unable to fend off Goblin on his own, Peter Parker rebonds with the Venom symbiote given to him by Flash Thompson, needing all of his strength he can in a last attempt to stop Goblin in his tracks. Hey everyone, Bryan here, and this is my review of the Marvel Legends Kingpin wave. This video serves as the first part of a 4-part series, Road to Kingpin, where I give you the rundown of every figure in the wave and we finish off with the Build-A-Figure at the end. Stick around for the end. I will be announcing details for a giveaway I'm going to be hosting over the course of this series. But without further ado, let's get into the review. I've already shown you some of the great poses you can get these two into, so let's quickly talk about some of the articulation. Alright, and first up, I want to talk about this fantastic Spider-Man figure. Now, this figure was a ton of fun to pose. He's got a ton of great articulation. He's on the Pizza Spidey mold, so if you're familiar with that figure, you'll be very familiar with this. Alright, first figure I want to talk about is the black suit Spider-Man. This was not one of my most anticipated of the wave, but he was just so much fun to pose. It's my first time with the Pizza Spider-Man mold, and wow, is the articulation on this thing absolutely fantastic. I will say my biggest gripe with the figure is actually the eyes. These look a little funky to me. Kind of feel like if I tried, I could rip them off. I'm not going to attempt that on camera, of course, but it's just kind of how I feel. I never had a problem with them. It looks like they've kind of balanced themselves out now before, because originally this eye was more closer to the head than this one. It looks like that's kind of still going on, but it's not a big deal. I still like the figure. The figure's still pretty great. So, you got your basic head movement. Looks up just like that. Looks down. Yay much. Then he's got the butterfly shoulders on both ends, so we'll only talk about one side right now. He's got the bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and he's got a hinge at the wrist. Of course, it rotates around. You can pop his wrists out, and you can switch them for a closed hand if you're not a fan of the open hand. I will say I find the closed palm more versatile, but, he's got a forward ab crunch, looks just like that. Get his arm out of the way for you. And a backwards ab crunch, looks pretty good. Let me just arm. Backwards ab crunch like that. Nice shaping right there. He swivels right there at the hip, or the waist, the pant line, whatever you want to call it. Kicks forward that much, kicks out yay much. Here he is doing that Jesus pose. Upper thigh swivel right there. Double jointed knees. No calf rotation, which is a bummer, but I guess he's already too frail to do that. But he does have a hinge at the foot still with some beautiful ankle pivot. How good he looks. I mean, he is just such a fun figure that you can get him into a pose very quickly, something to enjoy. That's probably not a great example, but God, is this figure fun. He is one of the most fun figures I've toyed around with before. On the front of mine, right here, there's some paint coming up on the front of the spider emblem. It's cool that it wraps around all the way, but there are some paint discrepancy back here too. You got the peg hole right in the middle of the head of the spider. Doesn't really bother me too much, may bother other people. The paint on the hands looks fairly good. It's not a perfect line, but what can you really do? There seems to be a lot of paint rub right here in the shoulder. I don't know if you can capture that at all. There's some paint rub there, and the same issue happens on this side, but it doesn't look like... Yeah, it's right here. I play with my figures rougher than most, so maybe I experience these issues a little quicker, but, they're still there. There's some seam line on the neck. Not bad seam lines on the head. I think that the head looks pretty smooth. I don't feel any roughness to it. It's really a perfect head mold. Much better in person than he was in the photos. I think his photos looked ridiculous. I thought that his promo art on the box just looks stupid. But in person, wow, he is cool looking. I can see this figure having a place on my shelf. Oh, wow. All right, now we're going to talk about Red Goblin a little bit. You'll probably notice right away all these big tendrils right behind him. That is actually an accessory that plugs into his back right here. Let me just take that out. Oh my gosh. Let me just pop that out. You see that? Just plugs into his back hole. His back hole is bigger than other figures, I believe. Yeah, his back hole is a little bigger than Spider-Man, so he won't be able to go on the same stands that this guy will be able to. I had that problem while I was posing him a little bit. Wasn't the end of the world. Not great, nonetheless. Ooh. What is that? What's all that? Paint on him. His head is this soft, sort of, more so soft plastic, like a lot of the hair that we see. His jaw especially, it's not articulated, but it does open, and I think that is just so cool. He's got one of the best face sculpts in the entire wave, along with some of the best facial paint detailing. I think Silver Sable's looks fantastic, but this guy, just the contrasts between the whites and the black and the yellow and the red, it just looks beautiful. Looks up that much, looks down this much, sees his penis. He can put his arms out just like that. He gets a good angle right here. I like how far up those can go. Get him into some nice sort of pouncing poses or something like that. I don't know. He has double hinged elbows, bicep swivel, and he's got a hinge on his hands. The hands are perfect for holding his pumpkin bomb. I will show you where the fuck did that pumpkin bomb go. All right, he has a pumpkin bomb. I'm just going to show you a picture because that thing's far away. He's not got a great ab crunch. Going forward, he doesn't really go anywhere. And backwards, not too far. So he's not really going anywhere in terms of that. This tail doesn't move. I will talk about that more in the verdict because I am really not a fan of this tail not being posable at all. He does swivel at the waist, kicks forward that much, kicks out. How far does he kick out? Yeah, there's that. See his nice ween. An all right thigh swivel, a little tighter on mine. Double hinged knees, calf rotation, and he's got the hinged feet, ankle pivot as well. He's got these cool sculpted tendrils going on his arms and his legs. They don't get in the way of anything. They're very soft plastic. They just flop out of the way as much as you need them to. They're very nice. They add a lot of detail to the figure. I think without him, the figure would be a little more dull. There's actually a lot of gripes I have with this figure. He might have been fun to pose and all, but he just could have been so much better. No QC issues. Mine moves pretty well. And pretty much a basic figure for this body. For the size comparison, both figures stand 6 inches tall. Red Goblin gets a little bit of height on Spider-Man due to his weird-ass head. You know, he's got that weird cut on him. A little bit weird. It's supposed to resemble his hat, I guess. Shartimus Prime did a little comparison of this figure next to the Marvel Legends Green Goblin figure. I'm after what wave that's from. I don't remember what wave it's from. But you can see exactly in the sculpt of it that the Green Goblin figure, you can see how it would turn into this one, which that was very neat for me to see. Before I even picked up this figure, I was honestly really afraid to like him. Only because I've been on the lookout for a black suit Spider-Man of my own, and I didn't really want this figure to fill that role. It's not my favorite look of the character like the Ultimate version is. However, once I finally picked him up and started tooling around with him, I just really started to like him more and more. And while it still isn't the definitive version of Spider-Man in my mind, I still think that anyone needing one in their collection who doesn't already have a Spider-Man figure or a Pizza Spider-Man or even a black suit Spider-Man, if you've got your eye on this one, go for it. I don't like the eyes at all. They make him look like a bug, and neither am I a fan of his feet being exposed. Other than that, I do like the emblem on his chest and how it wraps around the whole body, and this is my first time with this mold, so it was all very enjoyable for me to play with. I don't have too much more depth to go into about the Spider-Man. You see one with the mold, and then you've seen them all. But Red Goblin, on the other hand, he really doesn't do it for me like my enjoyment with Spider-Man does. His tail gets in the way of a lot of posability in my mind, and it sort of adds this clutter to the figure that it doesn't really need. It's so cool to see a tail on a standard Marvel Legends, but it's such a disappointment that it doesn't at least rotate. I didn't expect it to move before I took it out of the box, but I'm still disappointed it didn't anyway. I've been on the lookout for Hasbro to, down the line, hopefully release a new Scorpion figure, being that the only one that we have in this sort of style is the Spider-Man Classics from Toy Biz, but if this is how they're going to use the tail, don't even bother. So it's maybe that the lack of the glider or just the paint seems a little too dark a shade of red that take away from my enjoyment of this figure a lot. And now that does it for my review of these figures. I want to take this moment to thank those who watched the whole video and make a very special thanks to anyone who fast forwarded to this point just for the giveaway details. You guys are the real MVP. As maybe you saw it on my Instagram page, I am hosting a giveaway for a $20 e-gift card of your choice of retailer near you that maybe it sells an action figure or a game. I'll even do a Steam gift card. I don't really care. The largest contingency of the giveaway is a place that is going to accept an e-gift card so that I'm able to give it to you. All you need to do to qualify for the giveaway is be subscribed to this YouTube channel and following me on either Twitter or Instagram. To enter, leave a comment on this video of what your favorite action figure is and why. And don't forget to, at the end, leave your Twitter or Instagram username so I can leave you a message when you win. The announcement will be on part 4 of my Road to Kingpin series. So until then, stay tuned for my reviews of the rest of the wave, and good luck to everyone who entered. If you want to see more from me, keep up with my release schedule or any posts I make, be sure to follow my Instagram page at mixed.beans and Twitter at mixedbeansyt. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all for part 2.